Alrighty, my friend, it's your reading. I'm going to do it and see how we go. Now, I did have a look at the astrology for you. Now, the only problem was that the time of birth you gave me, you said, well, the time that you gave me, if it was even a minute sort of earlier, then it completely shifts your entire horoscope. So I was hesitant to use the information you gave me, the time of birth, because it would really significantly shift like where the planets were, the two houses that it was really going to affect are like night and day. They're so different from one another. So I didn't want to like risk kind of completely misinterpreting your chart by using that birth time. So I'm just not going to use that. But that's okay. We're still going to be able to do a card reading for you, and we'll have a look specifically kind of thinking about relationships for you, because that is something that you immediately mentioned. Also with a view to just looking at life in general, and we'll get to that in the sort of second part of the reading. But the initial part of the reading, I'm just going to do a really just kind of have a look at a relationship query for you. I think initially we'll do a cross and we'll go from there. All right, let's just have a quick look at the archetypal energy that's around you at the moment. Have a look at what's going on for you in general at the moment. Just archetypally. Alrighty, you've got the star. So the star, you need to really listen to the signs. You need to be open and aware of the information that's coming to you from the universe. You need to dial into your intuition more and listen to yourself more. I feel as though you do actually know the issue, and I was actually picking this up yesterday when we were messaging. I feel as though, particularly with the relationships, I think that you actually know the issue to do with the relationships, but it's something that you're kind of not willing to admit to yourself, because I feel as though part of the issue for you with your relationships arises internally, and I think it has something to do with the expectations that you have to do with relationships, what they need to be and what they should be, and also kind of like idealizing the idea that you need to be in a relationship to begin with. So that makes sense to me that you've got the star, which is really about following your own, dialing in with the signs and symbols that are around you in the universe, and having trusting the guidance that you get from the universe. But that foremost means kind of like taking some time out to get in touch with yourself, get in touch with your own intuition, but also just get in touch with yourself, like get real with yourself, almost get real with who you are, but also like get real with some of the things that perhaps you hide from yourself, and you need to sort of shed some light on that. So that's kind of the energy that we're going to be working with for you. Whoa, alrighty. Now, this is a new deck, so if it takes me a little while to to recognize the cards, bear with me, but I want to work with this deck. All right, let's just do a relationship, a quick spread for you in terms of relationships. And I think your kind of query was just what is going on for me with relationships. I think that's kind of how you framed the question. So let's have a look. You've got the 5 and the 7. We'll go with the 7 of Cups because I know that you want success in relationships. So let's use this. Yeah, okay. Now, I don't know if you're thinking specifically about a particular person or just in general, but it would appear that there is a man around you that you're thinking about in terms of this. He could be a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. All right. So you want something new. You want something new. You want to... Is that casting? No, that's all right, isn't it? You can see that okay? Alrighty. So we've got Seven of Cups. We've got the King of Pentacles. We've got the Four of Batons. So you are actually working from an energetically quite stable place. There are a lot of potentials around you for this. But the goal here is to create something new. You are quite powerful, but you need to learn to temper your power and how you apply it, because you actually might sort of chase people away. You're definitely looking at a new beginning with a relationship. Choice. All right, so you're thinking there's a choice here. Okay. All right. So we've got the Two of Cups here. We've got the Devil. We've got the Eight of Cups and the Page of Swords as the outcome. All right, so if you're actually involved, or if there's some kind of man on the horizon at the moment, it feels as though this question is sort of like related to that person and what is going on with you and this person. You may either already be involved in a relationship with that person. Does feel as though it could be that you want some success, like a successful relationship with this person, and you're kind of like feeling as though there's some kind of choice here, or as though you can see that there's potential for this relationship to take off and to work, and it's like you would like there to be a union with this person. That's kind of how you're interpreting this between you and this person. You do have, I feel as though you have quite high ideals about the kind of person who you'd like to be with. You'd like them to be probably as financially independent, as secure as you are, as advanced in their kind of career, and their as established in their life as you are as well. So you really want someone who's going to be a partner for you in all ways, not just not just a companion, but you'd like somebody who's really going to complement you, somebody who's going to be like the other half of you, because you've achieved a lot and you'd like this person to kind of bring that to the table as well. If there is a person on the horizon, I feel as though you're kind of thinking this person does have those attributes, so why aren't they? What is going on here? Where's the divide here? Why isn't this working out? Because you can see that there could be potential for this, but for some reason it's just not coming to fruition. Now, if this person isn't actually on the horizon, or as though I feel like they could be coming up, if they're not there already, it does feel as though like there's kind of friendship energy around this as well. So it definitely does. It is important for you to feel as though you and the person have like this really, you are companions and friends. It's not just, you want somebody kind of to, you would like somebody really just to be in your life in a really, in a very core way, to kind of like build something new with, to inspire your passions as well. Somebody who's going to inspire your passions and to ignite something that's kind of lacking a little bit, like within you. because you actually feel as though you're quite stable within yourself. It feels like if you've done some work on yourself, or if you've been working really hard to address some things in your life and do a lot of self-reflection and self kind of assessment and building, you've kind of like achieved this position at the moment where you actually feel like there's so much potential that you can give, there's so much you can bring to a relationship. So it's quite frustrating that other people around you aren't kind of seeing you for that you can bring that into their life as well, and you actually want to share that with somebody else, and you're actually really keen to embark on a really big, exciting kind of adventure with another person, with a partner, and you're really keen to and even if it like might be someone a little bit younger than you, it might feel as though it's somebody who's a little bit younger than you, and other people might kind of you kind of weigh in on that and try and sort of like deter you from doing that. But I do feel as though you're even open to that. That's not a problem for you. It's more about like finding this person who really just complements you as an individual. You're not there just looking for a fling kind of thing. You really do want to connect with somebody and make it meaningful, and you are really ready to embark on this union with somebody. You're ready to kind of like throw yourself into this, and you would like this other person, whether it's some person who is on your radar at the moment. I'm trying to figure out whether this person's around you or not, or whether they're going to come into your life. But yeah, you're definitely ready to actually kind of like stretch yourself a little bit as well, to because it feels like you've done such a lot of work and had a lot of experience actually kind of in this aspect of your life. You've had a lot of experience with negotiating relationships and coming in and going out and all of that. You're ready. You feels like you're ready to put what you've already learned into practice, and to kind of, but do it in a new and exciting way, because you kind of feel like if it happens this time for me, it's going to be different somehow, because I've learned so much from what's already passed, and now I feel like I'm ready to kind of almost experiment and see where it can go in the future. You are bringing to this quite a lot of internal resilience, and it feels as though you have been through this, you kind of been there, done that a little bit, and it feels like that could be something that other people may get not turned off by, but something that may be wary for them, because they're kind of like, they feel as though you've got more experience than them, and they don't quite know how to navigate this with you. So you might need to kind of not tone down, but be more receptive to the other person, the potential partner, or the person who you're already with. You might just need to be a little bit more kind of restrained in how you try to make this relationship, like how you try and form it, because it can feel to the other person as though you're sort of like taking too much of the lead, and that may actually kind of be a little bit intimidating for them. But having said that, don't change who you are by any means, because you've been through you've been through the initiation rites of relationship. You've been through the rite of passage, okay? You yourself, it feels as though you actually are quite adept at matters of the heart and matters of interpersonal sort of business, and so you are bringing quite a lot of power to this situation. I would just suggest that you learn how to kind of not back off, but just how to tame that power a little bit, so that other people aren't so intimidated, because there is a new beginning coming for you with a relationship. There is a new beginning coming. You want to go on this kind of exciting journey. You want to kind of reinvigorate your passions via this other person, you feel as though you've put in the work, and you're and as though you can see how much potential you have as a person, but also how much you can bring to a union. And there is something coming for you. There is a chance for a renewal, or there is someone coming your way. I feel like there is someone coming your way. And I do feel as though it's going to be someone a little bit younger than you, which is, you know, you could actually kind of coerce this person almost into being with you almost. Like, it does feel like you have some kind of hold over this person, some kind of, they are sort of a little bit beholden to your experience and wisdom in this. But if your goal is to, you know, kind of go on this journey and find someone who's your match, yeah, maybe it is somebody who's a little bit younger than you. Maybe because your energy is a little bit more sort of quirky. There's sort of a quirkiness around you, kind of an unusual kind of energy around you. A little bit somebody who kind of likes to kind of go by the beat of their own drum. And you definitely need somebody who can match your, match what it is that you're putting out there. Yeah, so you can see, you can, and I feel like you can actually see this, but I'm trying to keep in mind the star that we've got here, because I don't want you to kind of fall into this habit of kind of imagining that relationships are going to save you, or that a relationship is going to somehow be the thing that brings meaning or substance to your life. I think that's partly what all this experience with relationships for you relates to, because you've got the Devil card, and the Devil really means he's talking about we're kind of like, we feel restricted, or we feel restrained, but it's actually, the illusion is, it's an illusion where we're restrained by ourselves. We're not really, no one's really holding us back from doing anything. No one's really keeping us stuck. It's actually our own behaviors. Like when we repeat our own behaviors, you know, the devil, you know, that saying, better the devil you know. It's like repeating behaviors that haven't really served us in the past, but because we're not taking this time out to reflect on what we're doing, and to kind of like get more in touch with that part of ourselves that is a better guide, and a guide that's actually kind of looking out for us in a more authentic and in a higher kind of way, we're kind of inclined to repeat these patterns of behavior that are kind of self-destructive and self-defeating. And really what we need to learn is that we're doing that to ourselves. So if these relationships that you're trying to kind of make manifest in your life aren't kind of working, it's really important to understand that in all your relationships, you are the common denominator. So even though these other people might be lacking in some way, you need to kind of like reflect on what it is that what you're bringing to the table as well. Not suggesting you need to beat yourself up about it, but just kind of getting in an understanding of what it is that isn't working, that you're kind of propagating, that's not working for you, but you're still kind of haven't really figured out how to get rid of in this context yet. Yeah, because I do feel you've had some stuff that you've had to let go of in the past. There's been quite a bit of heartache. It feels like there may have been some betrayal in the past for you. And you need to kind of forgive and let go of that, and understand that that was part of the journey to get you to this point where you're at now. If this relationship is coming in for you, which it looks like it may be, coming up for you, you don't want to be taking all of that baggage from the past into this, and you certainly don't want to be kind of taking this kind of really kind of intimidating energy into it as well, because that's going to kind of kill this before it gets a chance to really take hold. What you really need to focus on is doing this a different way, just kind of letting it run its own course as well, without trying to shape it and form it too much. Just let it run its own course a little bit, and be surprised by what can come up without trying to control it so much. If you're on those dating apps, I think you shouldn't be. I feel as though it's not you need to kind of like organically meet somebody. It's not going to serve you to be on those. It's just not going to serve your higher need to be on those. That's just what I'm getting. I don't know where that is here, but that's just what's coming down. Yeah. But yeah, it does look like there is someone younger than you coming along. If you're involved with somebody at the moment, I feel like it looks like you're either going to change, you want to change things up with them, almost begin anew with them, and show them and show them who you really are, without the kind of baggage as such. But it does feel like it could actually just be that. No, I feel like someone new is coming along for you. It does feel like there's just a total new beginning, and it could be because you need to let go of somebody to begin with. Actually, you might need to actually let go of somebody, kind of sever all this, have a little bit of time out in between. I'm trying to figure out how, like, the timing for this. 10, 15. It could actually be a good year before this person comes to you. I know that's potentially not what you want to hear, but it feels like you need to get rid of the baggage of the person whose energy you've just been dealing with, in order to make a kind of clear palette for this new person to kind of step into without that stuff. Let's look at just basic strengths, obstacles, and opportunities relating to your relationships, or relating to actually this person that it looks like is kind of, getting ready for this person to step in. So really what I'm getting for you is that you're very strong. There's been a betrayal in the past. You're very experienced with interpersonal stuff. You can come across as a little bit intimidating, because you are quite powerful. You do resonate quite a powerful energy. Almost like, I don't want to say a male energy, but you're very strong. There's a great strength around you. And that can be intimidating. And you actually need to find the person who is going to be able to step up for you, to step up to meet you there, rather than you bringing yourself down to meet them at this lower level. That's what it is. You need to actually be more picky and choosy, I think. You kind of, the people who you're kind of connecting with aren't really worth it. They're not worth the trouble. They're not worth the trouble. It's nothing to do with you, really. It's just that these people that you're, and that's why I think it's this, you don't need to be with this social media shit. But I mean, the dating app stuff, I don't know if you are, but don't go down that route, because it's just not going to serve you. You're kind of more deserving than that. Right. And I am getting someone younger than you coming in. But they're younger than you. It feels like they're younger than you, but that's only in age, only by number. It's not... Holy crap. All right. Cups much. All right, so you've got the Knight of Cups. You've got the 9 of Cups. And you've got the 10 of Cups. Cups are all about relationships. They're all about emotions. They're all about our passions. They're also about letting go of the past and forgiving the past and moving on from the past. Cups tend to take longer. Anything to do with cups, they do take longer than, say, swords or wands to manifest. They're the kind of thing that is worth waiting for, though, which is why I think what part of the thing going on for you is that you need to kind of just give it a little bit of time between whatever's going on now to make some really clear space, to make some really clear energy for this person to step into. So, yeah, your strengths, the Knight of Cups, you yourself, you see, you yourself are very well resourced. You've kind of like been backwards, forwards, round and round with getting to know yourself, getting to know how you tick, getting to understand what kind of moves you and the kind of thing that you want. I do feel as though you've got a fairly clear vision of the person who you would like to be in your life. I do feel also that you kind of maybe need to actually give yourself more credit than you've been giving yourself, and kind of not just aim higher and expect more of the other person, but make a little bit of leeway, aim high and kind of put out like more than what you're kind of putting out there at the moment. Because like I said, I feel like the person who's worthy of coming into your life needs to be kind of greater than what you've sort of been bringing in. I feel like they kind of need to meet you at your level rather than you coming down to their level a bit. That's what I keep getting. And it's kind of like doing your head in. It's not doing their head in. And you're the one kind of like putting your energy and resources into this to make it work. And you're kind of like not getting any recompense, like it's not paying off for you. Okay, so your strengths are that, yeah, you are really well resourced. You actually do have, you've got resources around you to help you with this endeavor. And you're very motivated. You are very motivated for this. Just kind of take a deep breath and back off a little bit, okay? It is like a full moon, Scorpio full moon at the moment. It's really not a great... I'm not surprised that you've kind of reached out at this point, because it's a hard full moon right now. It is dredging up a lot of our internal shit, and it is making us kind of question a lot of stuff that we kind of suppress and push down and try not to actually face and deal with. But yeah, you have the energy to do this. You have the motivation to kind of just be patient and proceed with this. Your obstacles are that I do feel as though you're kind of a little bit... it may actually be that there was somebody in your past who it feels as though they're the one that got away almost. It feels like perhaps they're the one that made you a little bit melancholy, and that kind of it feels like no one's ever going to measure up to that person again. And that's gone. Okay. By kind of holding other people to that person's standard, it's not going to kind of open you up to kind of being more receptive to what is out there, and to maybe actually, you know how you had the Fool card down here, maybe maybe like by kind of dwelling on what happened in the past and this person's attributes and this person who you kind of idealize a little bit, because it does seem like you idealize your partners a little bit, and give them kind of like more power in the relationship. So that is something that perhaps before another person can come into you, oh my God, Freudian slip, before another person like can come into your life, that perhaps is something that you just kind of like honestly need to kind of look at and let go a bit more. Maybe you feel as though you've done that inside, like in your heart, you may feel as though you've done that work, but it feels like there could be a little bit more of that there than you even acknowledge, than you recognize is there. It could be a little bit deeper down than you think. But your opportunity is for success. I don't feel as though you do have the opportunity to have like emotional stability and emotional connection with somebody. There is an opportunity for you to have the kind of relationship that you would enjoy having. I think perhaps that you just need to like shift the idea about it a little bit, just sort of rethink it, re-explore what a relationship looks like, what your partner looks like, how it's going to make you feel, the kinds of things that you're willing to put into it, and the kinds of sort of almost to like the boundaries that you're going to put around yourself, because I do feel like you just give a lot in relationships, and perhaps you give more than you get back. But the person who I feel like is going to come for you, who's coming, they're kind of on the horizon. I feel like, even though they're younger, they are kind of more mature in a way. And it will be a breath of fresh air for you, because they're kind of not bringing this baggage. They've worked through it. Okay, so when you've worked through your own, when this is kind of really truly gone, you make way for this person, because they don't have that. And so if they're going to kind of come into your life, you need to have really gotten rid of this and really kind of just worked on how you assert yourself, have your boundaries, but, you know, don't be scary. That's what I'm going to say. All right, let's do a year breakdown, okay? I'll use the smaller cards because we're going to make a circle. Let's look at the next 12 months. And this is going to give us, this won't just be relationships. This will give us a bit of a broader, paint things with a bit of a broader brush. I mean, it might just be all about relationships depending what cards turn up, but let's have a look, see. I feel like you just need to aim higher, yeah, and have like some faith that can come to you. That person, you need to kind of rethink what this person is going to be. Yeah. Okay, sorry, thinking. Fuck, And get in there. All right. What was that? Wow. Okay, you got the Queen of Cups just jumping out at us. So yeah, be patient, my friend. Be patient with your, let's make that you actually. I'll just bring this down a bit so we can focus a little bit. Is that better? That's just the light. Okay, Queen of Cups. So that's you, okay? And we need to just be more patient. We need to be more observant with what's going on around us. We need to also kind of nurture our internal organism. We need to be kind to ourselves and nurture parts of ourselves that are going to help us in the future, okay? We understand that we are passionate and that we have a great deal of like sensory, emotional sort of, you like to kind of be excited, and you like to have these kind of, it feels like you actually like to have relationships to think about, which may be part of the issue that I was sort of like picking up with you kind of having this ideal version. So there's a balance between kind of plotting out a picture and of what the kind of partner who you'd like to manifest, but then just like, you know, writing that down and letting it go, you know, not kind of like dwelling on it and having that become like this huge sort of like chunk of your mind space every day, because that kind of like keeps you in this headspace of what you don't have. All right. And also, yeah. Okay, anyway. All right, let's go. Get in there, you. The Six of Cups. So, yep, all right. We're still looking at relationships here. We want you just to persist. Just, you know, you're working hard. I can feel as though, you know, it feels like you're putting a lot of effort into this. You do take this really seriously. Obviously, this is a big part of your psyche. This is really important to you, and it is something that you'd like to somehow kind of get a really practical handle on, because it feels as though you just can't quite figure out why, like I said before, it feels like you're doing the right things, and you're kind of bringing like your whole self to the plate, and you're bringing like good intentions and good experience, you know, and you've done a lot of back work with yourself, and you can't quite understand why it's not happening. So it does feel as though, yeah, this is obviously really important for you. It is a big part of your life. I can see that. What's that? The Hierophant. Okay. All right. So you, okay. So, all right. If there's somebody in your life who you trust, who you can talk to, somebody like a counselor, somebody with even like what I'm doing with like this esoteric kind of knowledge, somebody to just kind of give you a little bit of guidance, to offload a little bit of like, just particularly somebody who you can talk to, have a dialogue with around how you're feeling, particularly around this area, obviously, because it does seem like it's really kind of like quite a significant area in your life. Let me just kind of expand on this. I'll just put in that. Even if it has to do with like just reading some kind of self-help, I mean, I know how tacky that sounds, self-help, or if it's somebody who like podcasts, or somebody who does blogs, or somebody whose guidance you respect, that can help you at the moment. And that actually also relates to the Star card, because she is all about guidance, practical guidance, taking it on board and using it to follow, you know, even if it's like step by step. Wow, you got the Nine of Cups. Fucking hell, dude. Like, this really is all about your emotional, your relationships for you. So you got the Nine of Cups again down here, and I already said the Nine of Cups really relates to looking back over the past, and this is in the fourth house. So if there's something to do with your family of origin, your parents, something that they kind of like set up in you in an emotional way that's kind of like fed into how you view intimate relationships, something to do with your parents or your grandparents, something to do with where you grew up or how you grew up, that's kind of really influenced how you perceive relationships, whether like your parents were really tight and that's the kind of thing that you want to try and their kind of like awesome relationship is the kind of relationship that you want to have for yourself, reproduce, I guess. Or and so you're kind of like craving and striving for that, or whether it was the opposite, and whether there was like discord in your family, in those relationships between your parents, whether there was like an absent parent, or whether there was some kind of parental issues. That I feel as though that's something to do with like this reflective work that you need to kind of let go of from your past in order to make yourself like more of a to bring yourself more in alignment with the kind of relationship that you deserve in the future. I think that by acknowledging that kind of influence that's come down to you and like letting go of that, I know it's hard to let go of. If we're looking at, perhaps your grandparents had an amazing relationship and they taught you how to communicate with a partner really well, and that's the kind of thing that you really aspire to with a partner of your own, and you kind of feel as though, that's not what's happening for you in your relationships, then it's time for you right now, before you can bring someone else in, before this person on the horizon comes down to you. It's time to you to kind of like look at what it is within yourself that is kind of disenfranchising you in relationships, in terms of like what you aspire to and why it's not connecting. Like what part, particularly here to do with your family of origin, is like, are you kind of either aspiring to that's not happening, or that you're trying to let go of that's kind of been a blockage? All right, you've got the Ten of Cups. So the Ten of Cups in the fifth house. So that's all about children, creativity. Don't know if you've got children, but it feels as though there is some kind of like, you have been through a cycle. If you have a child or children already, that's kind of showing you that you have been through this kind of relationship cycle in quite a significant way, and they've been an achievement in themselves to have come out of this. If you don't have children, then look at it as the nurturing of self, and what you've been what you've been kind of like birthing within yourself in terms of your relationship experience, and your experience with your emotional, the way that you kind of navigate your emotions, manage your emotions, deal with other people's emotions as well, but particularly the way that you connect with your own emotions. There has been success there. There has been success. You do have the building blocks for this. So I can understand how it must feel for you, as though you kind of feel as though you do have so much to offer, but there's just this disconnect, that it's not happening and you can't quite figure out why. I do feel as though it would be prudent to go back and revisit this family of origin thing, and try and put the pieces together in what it was, like do that reflective work on that, whether there was a relationship that you'd like to emulate, or a relationship that you don't want to happen again. Just try to understand how that's manifesting in your relationships that you've had, and that you're trying to go into, okay? Because that could be, I do feel as though there's something to do with, like, keeps coming back to me, that it's like you're kind of idealizing it a little bit, okay? And you need to kind of like give the other person more room to be themselves in the relationship. It feels like you kind of want to not dominate it, but control it a little bit. And I feel as though there's a little bit of fear around that. A little bit of desire to try and control the other person in it, because you fear what might happen if there's an unbalance, if the other person feels as though they've got more power in the relationship. That makes you uncomfortable. Okay. Lordy, 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 lordy. Do that again. Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is success. It is success. You do this. All right. So day-to-day health and well-being, day-to-day activities. Do you ever feel like you're too in control of yourself? Do you ever feel as though you're too, as though you're sort of a little bit too, is there something that you're kind of like afraid to say or do because you feel as though you'll lose control of your emotions? And if that happens, then you're not quite sure how you'll put the lid back on. That kind of feels as though what that card is talking about there. Let's just keep going. Okay, we've got two cards here. All right, we've got the Emperor and we've got the Five of Pentacles. All right, this is interesting. This is in the house of the partner. So this, I'm here looking at somebody who you kind of either perceive as being an ideal partner or somebody who's in some way fulfilled that role for you. It does feel as though you're kind of like putting your partner or the idea of the partner on a pedestal. And either in the past you've been with people who have tried to dominate you, and so that's why now you're kind of determined that that's not going to happen again. Or you have put a lot of trust, energy, faith. You've invested a lot in this person and kind of helped them, perhaps also like on a really practical level, like financially or whatnot, in the context of a relationship. And it's like this person really changed things up for you. I don't know if you were ever married and went through a divorce, but it could even have been that, and you came out like kind of like not really winning in that situation. It does look like and it does kind of make sense to me, because it feels like, you know, you've got this vision of what this partner needs to look like, because you are a little bit afraid of going back to either what this situation was, which may actually have something to do with your childhood, this kind of father figure or figure. But you don't want, so you're kind of like trying to because you invest so much in your partner, you put them on this pedestal, and so it's easy for them to let you down, really, which is why you might need to just find the balance between like being a bit more flexible with the kind of person that you're trying to attract, and also just like the idea of a relationship. I keep coming back to this what a relationship is, you know, and why you want one, really. settle down. I'm going with the Magician up here in the 7th house. Hang on. 8th house. All right. The 8th house is the house of like basically complete transformation. So what this is showing me is you kind of have this opportunity now. Oh, hang on. What was I going to do? I was supposed to do month by month, wasn't I? So what are we? Oh, fuck it. Let's just do this way. I'll tell you what months they are. Up here in the 8th house, sorry, the Magician. The Magician is all about trickery. If you had this is also about other people's money. If you were married and divorced, or if you were in a relationship that was quite, committed, and there was a separation, it feels like you did get the raw end of the deal in that, with finances and material sort of situation there. It feels like this person really tricked you. This could be this betrayal that I felt coming up earlier, but it does feel like this person kind of pulled the wool over your eyes, and that's kind of like what set up this. This actually could also have been a parental figure, because this can be inheritances and whatnot, so there could have been an issue with an inheritance that's kind of changed your mind about being vulnerable. And allowing other people to kind of like see into who you are, like internally, because there is like this kind of like there is like a protective barrier around you, and I think that's to do with this control and not wanting to let go of the control, and to kind of like build up in your mind who this partner is going to be. But yeah, if there was a committed relationship, it looks like when that all came to an end, you kind of were either tricked or you got the raw end of the deal there. But also in general, what I would say is that it's time now for you to really, you got the Fool down here before, if you remember. You had the Fool down here in that first reading, and he's all about going off on these new endeavors, being really brave, stepping out into the unknown, taking these risks without like thinking through the outcome. He's just like willing to kind of like throw caution to the wind and say, okay, this is like my ideal goal. This is where I'd like to end up, but I have no idea how I'm going to get there, and I'm totally open to the experience. If I go left, I go left. If I go right, I go right. If I go in a circle, I go in a circle, but I'm just going to enjoy that experience of all that craziness, and knowing in my heart that I'm going to end up where I need to be. And I think that is that is the energy of this kind of real reading for you, is that you need to just kind of loosen up something somehow and just let go of it, and just be willing to go somewhere completely new where you don't have any say over it, and you just let it go, within the context of always having your best interests at heart and not the other person's, okay? If you can do that and kind of commit to that process and just let things go a little bit, loosen up the bonds a little bit, loosen up those restrictions a little bit that you're placing on yourself, through your kind of preconceived ideas about how things have to be, then you'll really surprise yourself. You'll really kind of pull a rabbit out of the hat. And this dude who ends up coming into your life is going to be quite pleasant and quite unexpected. All right, something different. You got the Six of Batons. So also, again, we've got persevering here. Energetically, just persevere with your energy. You're working really hard. You're putting it out there. But just plod along, persevere with it. There are so many potentials for you in this. I think you are limiting yourself with kind of the devil, you know, like I already said before. You're sort of, sorry, you are subconsciously setting boundaries around yourself, okay? So just if I feel like if you can kind of like commit to just like just letting it go, not thinking about it so much, and just letting things take their natural course instead of trying to make them happen the way that they're going to happen. This also might be where this person who you can talk to might come in. Maybe some kind of counseling therapy, maybe some kind of you know, reading some kinds of books, because this is up in the 9th house as well, which is also about expanding our knowledge and higher education, but also overseas travel, which no one's doing at the moment. But yeah, if you want to kind of persevere with just sort of changing your own vibration around this, it would be worth your time to perhaps consult with somebody who can help you work on that. I don't know if that's something you're into or not, but it could be beneficial for you to just give you support and a little bit of guidance through this. And it will be somebody who is sort of in a mentoring position for you, somebody who you respect, somebody whose ideas you find valuable, yeah? Oh, that's too many. 10th house. All right, you've got the 8 of Swords up in the 10th house. So I don't know what you do for a living, but you do come across as somebody who's very, has a very good understanding of themselves and of their beliefs and what they hold to be true, their values, beliefs, perspectives, that kind of thing. It's something that you've cultivated over quite a long time, and you are known for that. The people around you, you have a reputation for the way that you think, and the way people around you acknowledge that in you. They actually do see it as quite well developed. Whether they can work with that or not, it's up to you to kind of like help them to understand how you think. But I feels as though you can do that when you can be bothered. But other than that, I think you can kind of find it a little bit, you can actually be a little bit what's the word, detached from people around you. You can actually be a little bit detached from just day-to-day like chit-chat. I think people can read that in you, that you kind of prefer more meaningful sort of communication. And I do feel as though you need to, when I was talking before about setting a different kind of standard for this person, they need to be kind of, they need to be on your same wavelength, but intellectually as well, yeah? They need to kind of meet you at an intellectual level as well. There needs to be more, you need somebody that you can talk to as well. You need somebody who stimulates your mind as well, yeah? I feel like that's a little bit lacking in what you've had in the past. And that's something that you kind of need to build into, because this person who's coming, who's out there for you, is quite smart. Yeah. And that will be kind of what attracts you to them. which I think is why that will surprise you, actually. Oh, Lordy. Oh, God. All right, so nearly done. 11th house, we've got the Three of Cups. All right. Yeah, you need to stop fishing in your friendship group for partners. That's not going to happen. I don't think this person's coming from that direction anyway. Just move. Oh, fucking hell. Sorry. Yeah. So you've got the Three of Cups there, and it's in the house of the 11th house, which is our friends, colleagues, people we work with, yada yada. There has been sort of like the creation of something intimate in that zone, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be something to build on. I feel like this person who's coming to you is not from there, not a friend already. But yeah, that has been part of your experience. I think it's more important for you to, it's more important that you keep your friends as friends. I don't think that that's going to be fulfilling, because I feel like a partner from that part of your life is just going to take advantage of you, actually. Don't think that's going to work. Which is confusing for you, because there has been potential there. It feels like there was potential there, but that's done. That's done. There's nothing else to say about that. There's nothing coming. Sorry. Nothing coming there. Ay. All right. Let's have a look at the 12th house. Alrighty. You've got the Lovers in the 12th house. All right, now the 12th house is the house of our undoing, and it's the house of, I just need to move the light because it's not good. Can you still see those without that light? I hope so. I'll just move the candle in. Oh, for fuck's sake. So the 12th house, you've got the Lovers. Now the Lovers, let's look. Let's just draw this together. You need to acknowledge that you yourself, first and foremost, are your own partner. If you are not right in all the different parts of yourself, and if all of those parts of yourself aren't integrated, this isn't going to work for you, no matter what you're trying to put out there and draw in, okay? It's not working for you. This is where this discord is, I feel. It's arising from within you. It's not, you could put out and receive, like on paper, the most amazing person who ticks all your boxes and seems to fulfill all your needs. There's something inherently unbalanced within you that needs to be addressed before anything is going to work with any partner that you bring into your life. And that's not a bad thing. That's for everybody. That's true for everybody. But it's coming up in your spread, and everything indicates so far that there's things that you need to reflect on from your past. There's some betrayal there, I feel like, with a partner who's exploited you to an extent. I feel as though something in your familial past, there's some kind of ideals or things that you either really don't want in your relationship, or things that you really do want in your relationship that you learnt from your past, that you're really clinging on to, and that are making no one's going to be that person for you, because it's still unclear within yourself, and it's stuff that still needs to be worked through before you can kind of before you can kind of put out the right sort of, when I say right, I mean put the energy that you're putting out is conducive to the, you know, the they're not coming to you, you're not putting out energy that's kind of needy or dependent or controlling or what's the word, like you just need to really address this. Be patient, take the time to look at this before this can go ahead. That's what I'll say. There's you've got the Two of Cups. So the choice for you is whether you're going to continue going down the route that you've always gone down with these people and ending up where you're at right now, or whether you're going to take some time out for yourself, get yourself sort of as right as you can possibly be, so that when you do attract this person, it's very different. You yourself are in a very different space, and you will therefore bring in somebody who is reflective of that new space, which is going to be more fulfilling for you in the long run than kind of like going through this grief in the interim period and doing your own head in. That's the choice that you have to make. And that's where we're going to leave it. I hope that was helpful, and thank you so much for trusting me to work with you, and for letting me share your energy, and for letting me delve into your life.